welcome to the best netball podcast ever. I'm Chris, and today I'm on my best behaviour because we've got an actual coach on.
Good morning, I'm Carla, and finally, someone who might explain why Chris thinks she's a shooter.
Rude. I am quite versatile.
Versatile? You can't shoot for toffee. I always said something else then.
Today, we're joined by a coach who actually knows what she's talking about.
Which is unlike us most weeks.
Exactly. But before all of that, let's have a chat about what's been occurring of late. I think we ought to start with the weekend games.
Yes, definitely. It was a good weekend. A mixed bag, I thought.
Yes. So for our listeners, we are a week behind. So it won't be the weekend games that have just passed. It was the weekend games where one of my favourite games to date was Dragons versus Forest. Dragons 65, Forest 64. The whole match was incredible, nail-biting. I could not avert my eyes.
It's been interesting, actually, because on our Akuma Arena tour, I felt like we've been following Forest round quite a bit. We keep watching Forest live because their opposition has been the team that's been hosting us. This one we were watching on the telly. We weren't at the game. I'm with you. I agree. It was such a great match. There was some real talent on that court. A nice matchup, I thought, both in terms of as a team, opposition-wise, but also those individual little pairings that I thought were just electric on court.
Just did not know the way it was going to go. It was that edge of your seats netball. It was brilliant.
Chris and marketing manager Bex were watching it live in real time. I was on date night with my husband, literally like trying to eat my dessert really quickly so that we could get home.
The magic of romance. And it was the weekend where we actually went to London Copper Box, which, what an afternoon that was.
Yes, after the epic drive, it's quite a way. We've not been to Copper Box before. Really excited that that's where we were watching Pulse. Pulse were hosting our visit there. But what a lineup or matchup. Top two teams at the moment going in. Replay of last year's final. Absolutely loved it.
The crowd were incredible, I have to say. Those Pulse fans are second to none. They are relentless. The chanting throughout. I mean, one guy, I don't even know how he didn't have a voice by the end of it, just constantly shouting the whole game. The one thing we did note, though, Carla, was there was a few unnecessary comments that were shouted as well.
Yeah, heckling. It's just there's no place for that. It actually surprised me. We haven't heard anything like that in any other arenas or any other fans. So it was a real shame. At one point, there was some really inappropriate comments shouted to Berry Neal, who was playing really well actually at goal attack. And I just saw Nat Panagari sort of turn to the side and fully scowl. I mean, I'm pretty scared of Nat, so I wish you'd have got hold of him. But there's no need for it. There's no place for it. These are athletes, they're young girls. It's just completely inappropriate. And if I had a bit more balls, I would have probably got up and punched them.
Yeah, I mean, the hardest thing I think for us was these were adults, and actually there was a couple of men doing it. And it just didn't sit right with us. It wasn't great, I have to say. And I think had we have not been doing our media work at that point, we'd have probably called them out. We were there in a professional capacity, weren't we? And it was a bit difficult to sort of stop what we were doing to go and have a quiet word with people. But yeah, not great.
One thing that we loved there, I mean, we had numerous people coming up to us to say hi, which is always fantastic. There was one lovely comment from a family that were there, mum and dad and a young girl. They had just heard our trials episode, which I thought was great because they were telling us how their daughter, they live in Jersey, and they fly her over to go and play in like the performance pathway. She's 14. There's so much commitment out there from parents and players. And I just think that's fantastic. And she was saying how they're thinking maybe, I think they go up to the north, Manchester way for her play. And they were saying that maybe they would be looking at a Pulse pathway. She must be a talented junior, I don't know. But how impressive is that? And the community, the netball community is just so invested, and the future talent just growing all around us.
I mean, we were literally leaving, weren't we? And she shouted, "Netball girls, netball podcast girls." We were Oh, she was like, I love you too. Can we have a photo? And it was so nice. And we did get that from a few people. And it's always lovely to know that we have got listeners out there who love what we do for grassroots.
Yeah, which leads nice on actually to what else was happening this weekend. Well, I was watching the under-16s national club competition, which was pretty epic. Grassroots to a point. It's not Super League, but this is the best of the best in the under-16 category. It was such a phenomenal level of netball. So it was over the Saturday and Sunday, so obviously aligned with when the Super League games were on. And it was just fantastic. And you know some of those players going to go a long way. This is celebrating everything that's sort of club netball. So it's a lot more about the club and the infrastructure and how things work in the club, less probably about specific individuals like the county pathways or the performance pathways are. But I love that. Kingsway Power came out on top. They won. And obviously that ties in lovely with our guest later, which I won't spoil yet. That was a great part of the weekend for me. And then the last game, Super League game, was Monday, which is quite nice spreading it out over that extra day. Wasn't sure whether I was going to get to watch it because we had just a family day on Monday, but I happened to be lying on the sofa about 5:30 and then I was like, oh yes, there's another match. It felt like a little bonus treat for the bank holiday.
Yeah, Thunder absolutely ruled that match. I think the final score was 69 with 45 to Panthers. I actually feel really sorry for Panthers. They are an incredible team. They've had a run of bad luck. I know that they obviously should be doing better than what they are, but it's circumstances, in my opinion.
It is, yeah. I think Thunder are just sort of still settling it. It's round 10, so it is quite interesting. I think they could have really dominated that match. I'm not saying they didn't have it in the bag because they did all the way through, but still, I think there's still a little bit of settling to do. I like their versatility. They took Ali Cardwell off, which makes sense. It was good to see that rotating circle working so well for them. Karen Gregg, though, she's so calm and cool, and I love watching her as much as I love watching the players.
No, it's been, again, an awesome weekend of netball. This coming weekend, which obviously would have already happened when this is released, we are going to Liverpool. So more matches there again. We're so lucky we're doing this at Akuma Arena Tour. And obviously the franchises are inviting us as well. I love it.
Yes, absolutely. We'll be there. What else have you been doing? What else is going on in your world right now, Chris?
Well, apart from starting a new job very soon, not a lot. My life seems to be netball, family and work. No time for anything else. We're planning so much stuff this summer and also going into the end of the year as well with things we've got going on. It's a lot. We're here, there and everywhere doing lots of exciting things.
It's a good time to mention to everybody to get their grand final tickets. We will be there. We really look forward to it. We've got some media stuff planned on the grand final day, 20th of June in Manchester. And then not long after that, Commonwealth Games. Tickets are bought. We've been invited to watch the games. We're there on the Wednesday and the Thursday. Can't wait.
We've sort of been booking our hotel rooms, haven't we? Gary Burgess said no to us staying with him, so we've had to book a holiday in. Carla, I think it's time for one of our favourite little slots.
Okay. Is it Agony Aunt? Because that's not my favourite.
This week, there is no Agony Aunt. I'm very sad to report this terrible news.
What have we got then?
We have got a listener's message. I couldn't not read this one out. So it is now time for listeners' messages. So this message was received via Instagram and it is from a lady called Rachel Martin. I don't know where you're from, Rachel. I don't think you actually told us, but she writes, I have just listened to your trial podcast and absolutely loved it. As an assistant coach for an under 10/11 team at a high performance club, it was really insightful. I'm also a parent of a 10-year-old, so I can see both sides to trials. And I'm a player who has played many years at club, county level, so I know how hard trials are despite any amount of preparation. In case of anyone who has found themselves in the same situation, my daughter trialled for a local academy this year and was unsuccessful. It was the first official type of trial scenario she had been in. She was really disappointed to not get through, but she still wanted to attend the academy holiday sessions as they were during half term and all her friends were going. The coaches who ran the academy then went on to invite her along to join the full programme based on her improvement and her resilience. She has also just won an award at her club for Most Improved Player of the Season.
That's literally made my day. Bless her. And do you know, 10 years old and doing trials. Oh my God, that's just...
It's crazy, but how good that she's taken the time to write to us from listening to our trial episode, which we think is one of the best we've done for many reasons. You know, then to give us her take on what happened with her daughter. I love that. That's another bit of advice there.
Absolutely. And it's such good advice, isn't it? And just the most improved element of anything, I think, adds so much weight. So well done, Rachel's daughter. And thank you so much for taking the time to write in. We've had so many messages off the back of that trials episode, haven't we? It's been crazy.
We have. And the reason why I chose to read that one out is mainly because I love the fact that even though her daughter was so disappointed, she still went to the half-term academy and that paid off for her because she then got in. So to anybody listening, don't be disheartened. It's not your only chance.
Absolutely. Great advice.
So without further ado, I think we better get into our interview because we did not want this one to stop. Let's welcome Lauren. We're joined by someone who is shaping the future of netball across multiple levels of the game. Lauren Palmer is head coach of Leeds Rhinos in the Netball Super League and also the founder of Kingsway Power, who have just been crowned under-16 national champions, which is just incredible. What we love about Lauren is that she doesn't just coach at the top level, she builds pathways. She's developing players from grassroots right through to the elite, and that's exactly what our audience is so passionate about. We're going to talk about her journey, her coaching philosophy, pathways, and also the reality of leading a Super League team through a challenging season. Lauren, we are so happy to have you on. How are you?
Thank you. Excited to be on the podcast. A bit tired after the weekend. It's been a long one. But yeah, back in the swing of it. New week, new challenge and raring to go again.
So let's start really simple, Lauren. What does life actually look like for you right now? Because we know you're not just a Super League head coach.
Yeah, this is probably the craziest time of the year. So in Leeds 3 times a week, prepping for Super League and then games at the weekend. I still practice 1 day a week as a dentist, so I do that on a Friday. When I can, getting across to Kingsway, doing the grassroots there. So May, with all the competitions and NSL in full flow, is probably one of the craziest times. So sleep deprived and chaos is probably the best word to describe it at the moment.
How do you balance it all then with Rhinos, Kingsway and everything else that you're doing?
And being a dentist.
Yeah, I think time management, you tell the girls all the time, oh, you got to manage your time well, you've got to be able to do this, you've got to be able to do that. And I think having that instilled in me from a young age, from coaches, from parents, I think that's probably one of the big things, just making sure that I've got a routine, a schedule. I am one of those that has a sort of timetable on my wall, so I know where I should be, and I need little reminders off people. So Lisa, our franchise manager, will be like, Lauren, have you remembered this? I'm like, yeah, of course I have, when I definitely haven't. So yeah, I've got a few people in my corner that give me little nudges as to where I should be at what time and just check I've remembered everything. But yeah, time management, I think if I didn't have my little timetable, yeah, I probably wouldn't be where I should be. Absolutely not. And definitely wouldn't be prepared for where I should be anyway.
I mean, I have to nudge Carla every day, so I completely get it. You didn't follow a typical route into coaching. Your playing career was cut quite short. How has that shaped you for the coach you are now?
I think it's a big thing for me as a player. Like every player, you want to play at the top level. And for me, I got to play NPL at 19s and was around Thunder and Lightning as franchises. So I got a taste for that performance side. And I was just naturally a really competitive person. So when I thought I've reached my peak and picked up a few injuries and came away from the playing side, I didn't just want to walk away from the sport. So for me, I just literally started coaching like an under 9 or 10 local club. And from there, I realised how much I actually genuinely enjoyed it. And for me, from there, and being so competitive, I'd look around me and see other coaches coaching in pathways or counties and be like, no, I want to do that. Like, what's next for me? And I'm definitely someone, and people will definitely tell you this, I can't sit still. So if I've got a night off, I'll think it's great for an hour, but then I'm like fidgety, like, oh, I need to be doing something. So I think cramming my time with every little bit of coaching, like whether it was in a school, a club, a camp, like I did it all. And for me, it was always that competitive nature going, I want to do one better. What's next? And I've thoroughly enjoyed the journey as I've gone on it. And I never took any coaching role for granted and loved every single one I did. But it was always for me, I'm doing this for the build because I want to go that next step. And I always said I wanted to be a Super League coach by the age of 35. And if I hadn't done it, then, well, I don't know what my ultimatum was, but I was just like, no, I need to have done it by 35, and did it a little bit earlier than I anticipated. But yeah, I think it's just being so driven. I knew what I wanted. Same in academics, I was like, I'm going to be a dentist. I'm going to go to uni. I'm going to do this. And I knew that from like 14 years old. And I was like, that's my goal. I'm going to go do it. And I think it's just that mindset that probably is as to why I've ended up where I am at the age I am.
Let's talk Kingsway Power. Under 16 national champions. Pretty incredible. Take us to that moment. We saw you were there. What did it feel like?
Oh, it was incredible. And for me, the grassroots game is so crucial. I love it. And that's my fun. That's my hobby. And I get to do it with my friends. And the group that we took this weekend, we knew we had a good shot because they're so incredibly talented. But the culture of that group, it was just so special being around them. The players, the parents, the staff, like it was such a great time. And they went to the final at under 14s and lost. It was the same final, so it was in Leeds. So we had a bit of revenge on our hands. We wanted to get that title. And as a club, we've won 2 under 14 titles, but we've never quite got the 16s one. So it was a huge moment for the club. And I think the girls, that drove them a little bit like, we want to be the first ones. We want to be the ones to do it. So yeah, it was incredible. And the girls, bless them, they were in hysterics of tears. And I thought one of them was having like an absolute panic attack at one point. And I was like, Polly, what are you doing? But you could just see how much it meant to them. And at under 16s, I think it's such a big thing because it's their last junior netball. Like they'll all go to seniors and naturally they won't all play together at seniors. And yeah, it's such a special moment. And national clubs is the pinnacle event of the year at a club level. So yeah, something we look forward to and something we're going to do again in another 3 weeks time at under 14. So yeah, it was a special day and a hugely special moment for that group of girls.
Well, what you're doing there is clearly working. We did a trials episode this week, actually. What do you think makes a young player really stand out in that environment?
As a club, we like to develop girls that can problem solve, that can think, because naturally you'll develop connections and combinations with girls around you. But when you go into a trial, chances are you're not going to play in the same style. You're not going to play with the same people. And I think girls that are so into sort of robotic in a style that actually at trials they get found out. So for me, it's being able to think and study in the game. And I know a lot of teenage girls probably go, oh, I don't want to watch netball, like I'd rather just play it. But actually the girls that sit down and watch it and understand their role, and I tell girls all the time in feedback, like if you're a wing attack, go watch a Nat Metcalf, go watch Liz Scholes, like some completely different type of players, but ultimately they're really great at what they do, and go watch them get tips and implement that in your game. And those girls that have got the biggest toolbox, the biggest skill set, but ultimately can think and problem solve, for me are the ones that do stand out. And raw talent. When I was at national clubs, I was like, oh, look at her. And everyone's like, really? I was like, just look at the potential. And you've got like some kids that you just get really excited because you're like, they might not be there now, but I want to keep eyes on those. And it's just having a point of difference. And I say that to girls all the time, like, I don't want 10 clones turning up. Like, you've got to be something a little bit different. Trials are a tough time for girls, but selectors as well. There's always a headache and a discussion, but yeah, I think it's just having that point of difference.
Can you take us into a specific moment, a game or a conversation where you thought, this is really why I do what I do?
It's those moments where either things are not working or you connect as a group and something changes in the moment. And I refer back to this, and it's many a year ago now, and I was coaching Thunder 21s it was actually against Rhinos away, and we were down with probably about 5-6 minutes to go, and I was always a coach that wanted to run a 7, like coach them through it. And I was just like, I think this is a day that I can't do that. And I made a double change, one at each end, and was like, oh, this might not work. But actually it did work and we won the game. And I think for me, I've definitely learned over the last few years that if your gut's saying you might need to do something, just do it, be bold. If it doesn't work, you can change it back, especially with like tactical changes now that make that a whole lot easier. I think coaches sometimes get a bit scared to do it in case it goes wrong. But actually, when it goes right, it's definitely risk v reward. But yeah, the changes in the game have definitely allowed the opportunity to do those changes a lot easier. So yeah, I'd probably say that in game, I won't forget that moment. And then we went on to win the league that year. So I was like, yeah, that was a good one.
Our audience is full of players, parents and coaches. What does a 13, 14-year-old need to be doing now if they want to reach Super League level?
I think at that age, the key thing is, first of all, they've got to enjoy it. Like if you're going up to training week in, week out, and at that age, some of the stuff those girls do is crazy. Like they're training 3-4 times a week, playing 5 games of a weekend. It's mental. So if you're not enjoying it and you're just doing it because you want to get to the top, it's not going to happen. For me, it's those girls need to be, well, they need to be in a club working towards, like you say, the 14s nationals is the big one at a club, getting into county so you can get opportunities, and then obviously trying to get your foot in the door at a franchise and getting into those systems. I think people travel crazy miles at that age, which for me is a bit wild because performance netball doesn't really start till 15, 16 at franchise. So it's go to your local franchise. There's so many good grassroots clubs and good coaches at that level within a franchise. So you don't need to do all the miles. Just go be in a franchise, whether it's the one you want to or not the one. And you don't need to make those decisions until 17, 18 where you need to travel. So it's save yourself that, because you'll turn up to sessions, you'll be fresher, you'll perform better. But also it's the extra side, like I said before, about studying the game, like watch some netball, go see if you can watch some live netball because it's so different. And then just using, not every club gets nutrition, S&C, all of that. And it's not crucial, but I think it's just doing a bit of research, knowing, after a really tough game, don't go and have a McDonald's on your way home, as fun as that might sound. It's doing all those little bits that,
That's
really
where me and Carla went wrong then.
We used to do McDonald's breakfast on the way to games, so that's probably even worse. So nutrition's definitely changed in the last few years. But yeah, I think for the kids, just a lot of it is guided by parents. So it's the franchises. I know from Rhino side, there's parent education sessions and things like that. And I think the parents as well, the big one is that the kids enjoy it, because sometimes I think they live their netball dreams through their kids. And it's a big one. Just at 14, 13, let them enjoy it and just put them in the right places, take the pressure off. Like if you look at a Super League game, the amount of pressure that's through those athletes, when I go to a club under 14s and I see these kids like nervous wrecks, I'm like, guys, this is not stress. This is okay. Like just enjoy it.
Do you think pathways are getting it right at the moment? Or are we actually losing players?
I think there's an element of both. Like no pathway would ever be perfect, and every pathway is so different and everyone's style is different. There's loads of changes, and I know at Rhinos we're constantly chatting about how can we improve things for next year, like what do we need to do? And for me, the biggest debate area is that under 15 age group. I think the rules change year on year and they put restrictions on and then take them off. And I think that can get quite confusing for pathways as well as obviously the kids as well. So I don't think anyone's getting it spot on right. I think people are doing a lot of things well. And since Netball 2.0, the changes in age groups, obviously adding next gen, I think pathways are working towards getting it right. And that's for me is the exciting bit, because there's loads of things you can implement, loads of things that you can put in to grow. And yeah, I think maybe over the next few years, pathways will change and look and feel quite different. But that's really exciting. And if you're part of that journey and you can cite those changes, and I think that it's just a really exciting space to be in. I think that pathway at the moment, when you see it's awful NSL injury rate and you see the amount of opportunity next gen girls are getting to play up. But like, for example, for us at Rhinos, then some of our under 19 girls have got opportunities to play in next gen or the 21s, the PDP group. So I think it's exciting in the space of opportunity, and who knows what that will look like. But yeah, it's a work in progress, I think, the pathway system.
So this season has tested you with injuries and challenges. What have you learned about yourself as a head coach, and what's been the hardest day you've had this season?
I think resilience. I think that's my new middle name. Like, honestly, every possible hurdle, and I shouldn't say that because there'll probably be something else now this week now I've said this, but I think everything that could have been thrown at me has been thrown at me this year. It's been hard. And I think for the staff as well, like the player group, they've had a rough ride, you know, constantly in new combinations. Then we're tweaking styles and tactics to suit the girls that we've got. But I think ultimately, like, we've got a small staff group, and we've had, you know, a couple of staff members change roles or step back and step out. And I think for the staff group, like, we've been battered with trying to keep the players happy and giving them everything we need, probably at neglect to ourselves at times. So I think, yeah, that space has been really tough off the court, just trying to put the brave face on and be like, yeah, it's great, we've got this. And inside you're like, okay, what can I do now? We've got to go again. And the amount of times I think I've said to this group, we box it off, we go again. I think it's probably going to be my tagline or quote of the season for the group if they had to pick one. But in terms of the hardest day, and this is going to be crazy, but I think it was the day that Joyce rang me and told me she was pregnant. And I had to be like, I am so happy for you, because we love Joyce. Like, she's such a great person, and we are genuinely happy for her. But obviously our attacking end was built around her. And when she rang me, before I even answered it, I thought, Joyce doesn't ring me often. There's something here. And my stomach was sinking, and I was like, oh, I don't want to answer this. Like, ignorance is bliss. Like, I just don't want to know. And then when she told me, I was like, oh, like that was the toughest one. And then I had to ring Lisa, our general manager. I was like, Lisa, I've got some bad news. And I told her, and she was like, oh God, okay, what do we do? I was like, not sure yet, but we'll think of something. And yeah, that was the hardest one. And then telling the group and how it all unfolded. And yeah, we had some sad little faces for around on staff, players, for a good week or so. I think we went through like 7 stages of grief processing that news of Joyce. But yeah, I mean, we've turned it around, and I can't fault the attitudes of the players and the staff. Like, we definitely don't give up, and we keep pushing through. And I feel like we've turned a corner the past few weeks. So there's definitely been some rough times in a space of injury. And I think Dr. Al, our club doctor, I have on speed dial at the moment. The amount of conversations I've had with him this year is probably more than the past 2 or 3 years. So it's like as many as COVID time when I was at Thunder and I was ringing their doctor every other day, just like, what's this? It's literally the same at Rhinos this season. So hopefully something I never have to experience again.
Do you know, as fans, we have seen that resilience, Lauren, and it's been so impressive. And I really hope this resonates with our listeners, because people understand the challenge for the players, but that management team and that you've got to run, you can see the battering that you guys are getting and back in, day out. So it really does translate over the court, over the screen, over the TVs, because we've been so impressed. Lauren, you're the youngest head coach in the league. Do you feel extra pressure from that? Does it make a difference? Does it matter?
For me, it doesn't matter, majorly faze me. I think the biggest thing is I wanted this opportunity and I carved it out. So I'm just, first of all, grateful to be in that space and relishing in every moment and every challenge. But I think being the youngest and coming from such a competitive franchise like Thunder, it's built in me that I got a point to prove. And, you know, like we spoke about before, I haven't worn a Super League dress or an England dress. I've not really got a name in netball like some of the other coaches have. So for me, I think that's my biggest battle, that I'm trying to prove myself, prove my worth, and prove that my team is good enough. And that's probably me putting my own pressures on myself rather than external. Rhinos are great, they're supportive, they don't put any of those pressures on me. They just want to provide me a space to grow. But I think that is my biggest driver and motivator. Like, I need to prove that I can compete with, you know, coaches that have been around for years and that have been in that international space and played at all these levels. And I'm just, you know, pathway coach from down the road that done a bit of this and a bit of that, that's managed to carve out this opportunity, which is like such an amazing opportunity for me and those around me. But I think that's the biggest thing, just me trying to prove a point. And when something goes well, I'm like, yeah, I'm doing things well. Or even just little things like when the players say, oh, Lauren, that was a really good session tonight. I thrive off that, you know, just a bit of when you say you've got a confidence player, I think I'm definitely a confidence coach. And sometimes when people fluff your ego up, it's like, oh yeah, we're doing things right. And yeah, it's definitely just my internal pressures that I put on myself that probably fuel me more, and I'm out to prove my point, and I want to get top 4. I don't just want to come in, and we've said this openly at Rhinos, we don't want to be a team that just makes up the numbers every year and are happy to finish 7th or, you know, wherever that may be in the bottom half. Like, we want to build a culture and a team to push for top 4 and win titles. And I'm so competitive. Like, that's what I want to be. And that's the mentality of this group that, yeah, it's a building year, but we don't want to be like this every year. Like, we want to grow. And that's just, I think, internal mindset of I want to go do it. So we're doing it.
It makes such good sense. I mean, like I said, we couldn't be more impressed this season. I think it's time for a quick fire game, Chris. So, Lauren, these ones you've got to answer off the cuff, quick as you can, no thinking about it, short answer. Are you ready?
We'll see.
Could go horribly wrong. Probably from asking the questions, not answering them. What frustrates you most about netball right now?
Injuries.
What do players complain about that you have zero sympathy for?
Fitness testing.
What's the biggest waste of time in training?
I just want to coach. So I'm like, quick warm up, then we can go.
What separates good players from great players?
Mindset.
What do coaches avoid saying, but they really want to?
Pass.
What's one hard truth players don't want to hear?
I think sometimes when they've made errors and you out them and they're like, yeah, I know, but I don't want to hear it in front of the group.
What's the biggest mistake parents make?
Making their kids do something when they're not that interested in it.
What's overrated in player development?
I think competition at times, because they want to play every game under the sun, and if they're beating people 80-0, they're not getting anything out of that. So actually doing extra nutrition, PA, court sessions, I think that's probably more beneficial.
What's underrated in player development?
Watching netball. I don't think grassroots, you don't have PA and things like that, but they're the 1%ers that make a huge difference in understanding.
What would you cut out of the current pathway system?
I think sometimes if you look at the younger age groups, so you've got like under 10, 11s, that's hard because I do really like those. I, to be honest, wouldn't cut anything out. I'd probably add.
What does an elite mindset actually look like?
When you're up at 12 a.m. after a game trying to do extra PA, all that stuff behind the scenes, those 1%, the watching things back, the communication piece is a big one, checking in with players, checking in with each other and just making sure you've got everything you need. So it's definitely the late nights, early mornings behind the scenes that make a huge difference.
What's the first thing you notice about a player that you won't select?
Their facials. I think if someone looks like they're not coachable, so if they've got a bit of a blank face or they look as if they're going to not necessarily be great for a group, I think, yeah, body language, facials are a big one.
What do you wish you knew at the start of your coaching career?
I think for me, it was the off-court things. I always thought you needed to know more than everyone else, but actually the way you communicate, the way you spend time with your players, give them confidence and do all the stuff off the court is only something the last few years I've really looked at. So yeah, definitely the off-court, looking after your players is a big thing.
And finally, if you could change one thing about netball tomorrow, what would it be?
I think for us in this country, not making us have 10 players in a league. I want more players and more import spots. And that I think is needed to grow the game. And it's great that next gen get opportunity. And I still want to make sure that happens. But I think in order to grow the game, grow the standards, it's the league and the competitiveness has to grow. So by letting us have more players of higher caliber, more imports, it'll make the league exciting. And also keep pushing on, keep adding, in an ideal world, every major city has a franchise. Like, that would be so exciting. You look at the football model and things. So yeah, I just think keep adding, don't take anything out and just keep building year on year.
Lauren, you have been an absolute star. It's a real insight into your world. And I think the advocacy for coaching and those pathways comes across so loud and clear. We can't thank you enough for your time. Not just today, but every time we've seen you. It's been a pleasure.
We absolutely love going to watch Leeds Rhinos. They are incredible. And we honestly wish that next year, I think it's unlikely to happen now this year, but next year, top 4, 100%.
Thank you. No, thanks for having me. And that's the plan. And definitely we're working on that.
So, following on from the lovely Lauren, let's go and talk to one of the Rhinos players. Hopefully their messages are aligned.
We're joined by one of the fiercest competitors in the Netball Super League, a player who brings intensity, leadership and serious presence every time she steps on court for the Rhinos. From her journey through the game to life inside one of the league's toughest environments, we're diving into the highs, the challenges and everything in between. Please welcome Harriet Jones! The crowd go wild!
Thanks for having me, guys.
Hi, Harriet. Thank you so much for your time.
So I'm from the Wirral. Don't know if anyone knows where that is. It's near Liverpool. Play for Leeds Rhinos Netball. This is my third season now. I grew up at Oldham Netball Club when I was younger and went through the different age groups, and then I also played for Manchester Thunder since I was about 13, right up until I was about 19. So yeah, I went through all their different age groups right up until being a training partner and then getting my debut for Thunder as well. And then obviously made the jump to move to Leeds. And then yeah, that's all where it started really.
This season feels like another step forward for you personally. What have you been most proud of in your performances so far?
For me, I think with my super shot, I've definitely been a bit up and down with it. And I think that the last few games, I've really come into my own with it. And so that's something I'm really proud of, because I did have a bit of a dip in the middle. And I think mentally for a shooter, that's quite tough. But I think for me, I've managed to get out of that the last few rounds and pull myself back into what I do best and put those shots up. So yeah, I definitely think getting back into the swing with the super shots and being more consistent with that.
You literally do them in your sleep now.
Yeah, I've got it in my head, muscle memory. So yeah, second nature.
What's been your toughest on-court moment this season and how did you respond to it?
I think the toughest one for me was, I don't know what round it was, when we were playing Forest. And I think at one point we were about 20 down. And I remember the quarter-3 buzzer for the super shot went off. And me personally, and I know the rest of the team thought the same, we had a decision there to whether the game is going to blow out even more, or are we going to take control of this and bring it back to a more reasonable scoreline. And I think I got 6 super shots in that quarter, which was just amazing. And I was doing that for the team. I know the defence were winning ball. The energy was amazing. So that was a real tough moment for us. But as a group, I think we're so good at stopping that now and not letting blowouts happen to us. That's a moment that really stuck out to me, where we really got out of that tough situation of being nearly 20 plus down, and it was only going into like the quarter-3. And yeah, I just thought it was a whole team effort and we got out of that really well.
We were at that game actually, Harriet. It was pretty incredible. We were sat so close to the court.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah, everyone had just like a switch that we all just decided this isn't going to blow out. We're better than this completely. And I know that we didn't get the result, but I think the result could have been a lot worse for us. So I think we were proud that we took control in that quarter and got it back to a more of a reasonable scoreline.
Does someone actually have that conversation then? Do they actually say, right, we're going to get hold of this? And did you literally talk about that between yourselves?
Well, we have a word and it's called charge. So as a group, we charge in those moments where it gets sticky. And I think we've identified as a group that we're really good at that right now. And I think that moment, I think when I sunk my first super shot, everyone says about the roar I do after my super shot, but I think everyone gets so lifted by that. The defence start winning ball and we're so good with that momentum shift to carry it on. I think just for us, it's consistency now and being able to replicate that in like quarter-4, let's say, in that game. But yeah, it's kind of just like when we hear that word charge, that could be, you know, Lauren on the bench calling it, us as players calling it. We all know what that means and we all know that we've got a job to do in that moment.
You know, when you have your tactical timeouts, what sort of things are said in those like 2-3 minutes?
Yeah, so for us, it's normally just to go back to basics, because normally when the tactical's called, it's normally when we're all a bit over the, you know, everyone's a bit all over everywhere. So we kind of just call that just to break the momentum as well from the other team. So normally it's when the other team have had a few on the run, stop their momentum as well. And Lauren just reminds us of what the game plan is and what we're, doing good out there. And just to go back to basic netball, because I think sometimes we overthink as a group. So if we all just nail the basics and just get it to the goal, then obviously whoever's in that circle has a job to get it through the net. So yeah, I think it's just Lauren just reinforces what the game plan is, and we just stick to it and go back out there and don't let a game pull out from us.
It's almost like a reset button, isn't it?
It's just the reset to break their cycle if they've had the run, and just to give us a breath to just take a minute, and then we go out there and hopefully pull it back.
How has your role evolved within the Rhinos attack compared to when you first joined them?
Yeah, so when I first joined them, I was a bit all over the place, didn't know what I was doing. Obviously, I had Joyce Mavula behind me for 2 seasons, and she was just amazing with me. She had so much experience. Whenever I felt a bit, didn't know what I was doing, I'd look to her and she'd help me. So having her was amazing. And then obviously this season as well, I feel like I've come into my own a bit. I think I'm comfortable with the environment, and I know I'm still young, but I still think of myself as a leader on that core, especially being here for one of the longest. Yeah, I really like taking on that role, and Paige has been amazing with me as well. She's very similar to Joyce, that if I'm out there and I'm a bit struggling or don't know what to do, she always reins me in. Little taps, bum taps. So yeah, I just think that this year I've come into my own really in that attack end, and yeah, I'm absolutely loving it.
We love Paige. I think she's just wonderful.
Yeah, she's one of the best captains I've had in any team. She's, you could speak to her about anything and nothing's too small or anything. And for me, being still young, having someone on the court that's more experienced, had more time is just crucial, I think, to have. And yeah, I couldn't say a bad word about Paige. She's been great.
So every team has its bumps and challenges. What's been the biggest challenge for Rhinos this season?
Well, obviously the injuries that we've what's happened, but we've always said that we go into every game the same way we would normally. And I think the people that have been injured have been absolutely amazing. They've been in and around the environment all the time, with whether that's PA meetings, etc. But I think for us as a group, it's not using the injuries as an excuse if we haven't got a result. We still demand a lot of us as a group, even though we're a really young, inexperienced group. And I think that's so exciting that we don't fear anyone. We see it as a challenge. And I think that obviously the injuries haven't been great for us, but we've really kept each other going. And I think especially the last few rounds, we've shown that we can compete with the top teams. It's not been ideal, but I think that the way we've managed it as a group, a wider group, has been amazing. And I think, hats off to all of us for getting through this.
You're a team that's so well loved. We've heard so many lovely things about you guys. It's just so nice. How are you finding the balance between goal attack and goal shoot? And do you think you've now nailed your best position?
Yeah, so I know that I started to play goal shooter a lot more, which I absolutely love, because the last few seasons, I haven't been able to do that, like switch. And I think for my personal development, having 2 positions, possibly 3 with wing attack as well, in my locker is crucial moving forward. But yeah, I've been loving it. Obviously, goal attack has my heart, and I think I am still most comfortable in that position, I would say. But I've loved the challenge of this year, having to flip-flop between both. And I think me and Paige have loved that as well, both of us playing the different positions. And yeah, so I've really enjoyed the challenge of it, considering my last few years I've not had much chance to play that goal shooter role. And I think it's developing areas of my game that necessarily might have not developed if I hadn't had the chance. So I know I've definitely got stronger on the hold. And yeah, playing with a Paige in that rotational circle, it keeps us thinking all the time. It is knackering though for 60 minutes, but we're getting there, I think, now with our connection. So yeah, I've definitely loved flip-flopping between both, but I think goal attack's definitely got my heart and is my favourite position still.
I mean, you go to goal shoot when you need a rest, right?
Well, you'd think we don't stop running, but I think that's really nice because especially when whoever's in at goal shooter, because we are a moving circle, we just play positional roles. So if I need a break at goal attack, I just roll in, Paige rolls out. So I think that's quite a unique point for our group, that we're having that rotational circle that some teams don't have. It gives defenders a bit more to think about.
We
So,
love you two
yeah.
together.
Oh, thank you.
How do you personally reset after a difficult performance or a really challenging game?
Yeah, so I've actually struggled a lot in my past with mental health issues. And I think a big one for me is I'm imagine the harshest critic of yourself times 100. That is me. And I think this season is the best I've felt within myself. And I think that when I've had a bad game, for me, it's not thinking about it. I go to bed, sleep on it, and I wake up a different person. I think this is a case for everyone, especially athletes as well. You can become very hot-headed in the moment or after a game. So I think for me, it's distracting myself, whether that's just talking to the family, watching some TV before bed, whatever it is, just to switch off from the game, reset. And then when it comes to analysing the game, I've got a fresh perspective of it. And I think that's a big thing for me after games. And then, like, if it was a bad game in the moment, again, just very similar. So on my water bottle, I've got 3 little key targets that I have for a game that Lauren sets us. We all get them, but I stick it to my water bottle. So then if we come off at quarter time, that I have something to look to, just to kind of ground me and think, these are the 3 things that I need to focus on. And then if I do that, that's a good job. So it's just little things like that. And I think the more I get more experience and stuff, I'll learn other ways that can help me, deal with stuff. But I definitely got better at coping, whether, I've had a bad game or not. So yeah.
Love that, Harriet. And I think also that's going to resonate quite a lot with our listeners who probably, we've got so many, we know this now with mental health, it's huge. And to have that bit of advice, sleep on it, resetting is brilliant.
Yeah, I even journal as well a lot. I love journaling, just to get my whatever I'm thinking in my head on a piece of paper, and then that's kind of it. It kind of got it out of my head then. And so then I can go into training the next week with a fresh head. So yeah, that's another way of coping with it as well.
What's been your toughest on-court moment this season, and how did you respond to it?
Probably the Forest game. I know I mentioned that before, that game. I would also say probably when we played Pulse in the arena. I think that was pretty tough. Purely, Paige obviously was injured that game, and I'd know our connection was growing. So obviously me and Simone had to go out there for 60 minutes, which was a tough ask against last league winners. But again, we didn't, go into it afraid, because if anything, we have nothing to lose. There was more pressure on Pulse to get the win. So I think that was tough out there. Obviously, the Copper Box is such an intimidating environment anyway. But yeah, I think there was times where we would, be playing really well, then it went down a bit, and then they just pulled away. So I think that's been the toughest bit in games, is competing with the team, and then it just slowly slips away from us, and it's knowing what can we do to try and rein that back. And I think we're still learning as a group. As I said, we are very young, so it's in those moments of like stickiness is how we get out of that quickly.
I mean, the fans of Pulse in the Copper Box, that would be enough to intimidate anybody, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and even when it's like not full, it's still intimidating. So they have such an amazing fan base, and obviously they're an amazing team as well. So anyone would be intimidated to go against them. But I think we've turned that intimidation into like, this is a challenge, and we're up for the challenge. And I know that the Leeds Rhinos team are always up for a challenge, and we always don't want any team to write us off. That's one thing. So yeah, we've always got that bit of grit in us to give a team a run for their money.
That leads quite nicely into my next question. How does it feel? Do you have a lot of doubt when your performance, or is it a case of really kind of finding your inner confidence and then letting that explode on court?
Yeah, I think obviously everyone can doubt themselves in patches. That's just normal, whether you make a mistake or whatever it is. But it's how quickly you snap out of it. And I think that's something I'm learning, especially, if you make that one error and it puts a bit of doubt in your mind, don't be scared to try it again. because next time the ball could be on or whatever. So yeah, it's a real tricky balance, because obviously as athletes, when you make errors, doubt is automatically just going to come into your mind, but it's what you can do to snap out of it quickly. I know for a shooter, especially if I've missed just a super shot or just a one pointer, like I want that ball back in my hands and I want to get it in the net to prove to, push that doubt down that I back myself, I can get these in. So yeah, I think there's little ways you can do. I'm very much a player. If I've made a mistake, I still want hand on ball. I still want to be moving. I don't want my players to not pass me the ball in fear that I'm going to make the same mistake. So it's gaining that trust within the team that if someone makes a mistake, you still back them to, make a good ball the next time.
What does success look like for Rhinos this season?
Yeah, I think for us, it's given everyone a run for their money. And I think every game that we've gone into, we want to win. And that's never changed, no matter the injuries, what's gone on. We always go in with the mindset of we want to win this game. We never just want to make up the numbers and just come, for a day out of netball. We want to be there to compete. I think that took us a while, the first few rounds, but I think the last few rounds, we've really come into our own now and are pushing teams. And we've all said a win is brewing for us. And I hope it's coming soon. Hopefully it's in my hometown. That would be amazing. I'd love that. So yeah, I think success for us is pushing teams to the last whistle. And I think that's what we've shown that we can do. So I think the last few games of the season, that's definitely our plan, and hopefully to get a few more wins on the board for us.
Do you actively look for the super shot opportunities, or does it need to feel right in the flow of the game? How does that work in your mind?
I think for me, I'm looking for it. I think I very much made it aware to everyone, it is my game. I love the super shot. I know there's a bit of controversy between it, but I love it. Definitely, if it's a turnover, maybe we just get a one, settle it. But when it's our centre pass and it's super shot, yeah, I want ball in hand and I want to get it through the net for the team. And I think that's my big driver. Everything that I do is for the team. If it's in a moment where we just need a one pointer, I'm not a selfish person and would take the two for the glory. If we need the one, I'd take the one. But yeah, I actively am looking for the super shot. But I think another threat for us as a team is we have multiple threats in the circle. Paige can also shoot them as well, which is a massive bonus. Simone can actually shoot them as well. She's amazing in training. You've probably not seen it yet on court, but she can, and I know she'll probably get a chance to show that. So we've actually got 3 threats. I think that playing with someone that can also shoot them, it kind of takes that pressure off. So obviously I love taking them, but I also know Paige loves taking them. So we've got 2 options in the circle, which I just think is great to have. A few times me and Paige will look to go for the shot and then off-lay it. So I love the super shot, and I know all 3 of us do, which is just, yeah, great. And I think we're definitely coming into our own with it.
It's like not many people know me and Carla can also do super shots.
Yeah, exactly. See?
You might get well.
Yeah.
So basically, question and then a quick answer. Don't overthink it. First thing that comes into your head.
Okay.
Toughest defender you've faced this season?
Fumi, by far.
Favourite shooting combo you've played in?
Oh, I'm going to have to say me and Paige, definitely.
One word to describe the Rhinos culture?
Gritty and like the never give up attitude.
Pressure shot, super shot or standard 2?
Super shot.
Ritual you never skip?
Always wearing my Lucky Sports bra.
And your favourite podcast host?
You guys. Obviously. That was a trick question, wasn't it?
That's literally not written down. I always just add that in.
Oh, that's funny.
We've really enjoyed having you on today. Honestly, you are amazing. We love watching Rhinos. Awesome team.
I'm hoping we get a few wins. That's what I'm hoping for. I think we deserve it.
Yeah, you will. You will.
Thanks again, Harriet. Absolutely lovely to
thank you for having me.
I don't even know which interview I liked best. They were both amazing.
We're so lucky at the access to players and coaches that we're getting, and we're so honoured and privileged to bring our listeners these conversations. Let's just touch on Harriet's comments around her mental health challenges, because I think that was really kind of her to be so open and transparent, because that's not an easy conversation to have, is it? Especially live to the nation. I mean, we have listeners all over the world, right?
Yeah, we do. And I think this generation is being more open about mental health and we're embracing it. We have to. So thank you so much to Harriet for sharing that information with us today.
Yeah, it was really kind and gave a little bit of guidance on things that have worked for her that I'm sure will resonate with other people. But I think our message is sort of loud and clear, isn't it? Let's not be afraid to have those tough conversations. Let's, as coaches, as netball leads, whatever your role, like whatever area you cover, let's talk about it. Let's get into the different generations, the different way of thinking, the different way of behaving. And let's really challenge the narrative so that people feel like they can get help where it's needed, because I'm so proud of Harriet to have raised that.
Yeah, and it sounds like she has amazing support too, which is obviously really important in any sort of, whether it's a normal job or a netball league, it doesn't matter, does it? You have to have that support and feel like you can talk to somebody, even if it's just one person.
Absolutely. And I think the message from both of them around the resilience of the tough season they've had, again, loud and clear, that resilience is, you can't gain it, can you? You can't coach it, you learn it and you build it. And Rhinos have showed that in spades this season. So let's hope the tides are turning, the luck is changing, taking on board that tool of resilience, and the future will be, no question, super bright for them.
Yeah, they're a much loved team and we honestly wish them so much success. We've loved watching them as well, so I can't wait to go and see them again.
Absolutely. And back to you guys, if there's stuff you want to know, players you wanted to speak to, the rest of the Rhino team, we can hound them, let us know. I think that's all we've got time for. I'm pretty exhausted again. I feel like I've delved into the world of Rhinos netball and better off for it.
What a full-on episode, but I just adore Lauren and Harriet and really appreciate their time.
Yes, yeah, we've obviously already had the lovely Paige Weed on previously, so if you haven't heard that episode, go and dig that one out too, because she had some great insight. And it was actually just before the season started, wasn't it? So it'd be lovely to get her on again and sort of see how her predictions and her talk around the seasons panned out.
Yeah, definitely. We have to, as always, say thank you to our amazing sponsors, Akuma Sports.
Akuma Sports create high-quality custom teamwear for clubs, schools and organisations. So if your team is looking for professional netball kits, training gear or off-court apparel,
don't forget their inclusive kit, because that is awesome.
Then make sure you check them out at akumasports.com.
We're forever grateful to our listeners. Thank you to those as well that come and say hello when they see us on the Akuma Arena Tour. That has not finished. We are still on it and we are loving every second.
Yes, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Have a great week, whether you're playing netball, watching netball, living and breathing netball just like us.
Bye for now.
Bye, guys.